All right. Oh my God, how you guys getting on, huh? Tall on Colini Jassa, unsha. Huh? Hey, Aaron Moore Island, I can't hear you. Tall on Colini Jassa up in this chocked. You know what I mean? Oh my God. Nurafek me, na Colini unsha. Time fluck a kraken. You know what I mean? Guys, I'm something of a Gale Gore myself. Oh my God. Bloody Fanya, bloody Fanya or Nura fake me na Kalini unsha dirt me fucking time chalked. Time chalked. You know what I mean? Look, if you know, then you bloody know. I did a bit of bloody. I don't know who I am now. I'm American. Time, gedi time in Coney. Ma Joseph Coney, 2012. Oh my God! I don't know what I'm talking about. How are you? How are you doing? I'm something of a Gale Gore myself. Here's my Fania Ergid. Hey, have you seen my Fania Ergid? Mom! Where's my fucking Fania Ergid from Spin Air More Islands? Am I annoying you? I'm sorry I'm annoying you. I'm very excited. I have bloody carte blanche for the place here. There's no one else here. And I tell you, when there was someone else here, ooh, did I get very territorial. I did be getting very territorial. I've realized this about myself, is that you think because of the glasses and because I'm married that I'm a nice person, but I'm fucking, oh my God, I'm a fucking prick. I'm such a, well, let me tell you what happened. I was in here in the fine podcast studios here. Are you a small, medium, or large-sized van? You need to come record a podcast here. I wonder why that podcast would be like, honk, honk, beep, beep. That's what it would be. Your podcast, if you're a van. But if you're not a van, I say that because small, medium, large-sized. Look, if you didn't get the reference, it's an in-joke, right? Hey, here's another in-joke. Bloody, there's no in-jokes. Here's a bloody in-joke for you. A towel shaped like a cock at the end of your bed. Here's a fucking in-joke for you. Get that in your fucking travel lodge. Well, yeah, fucking, there's your fucking, I don't know. Honestly, when in doubt, a big L cock is the joke. But yeah, I'm not, see, people think I'm quick. People think I'm quick, but I can't think that quick. I go on other podcasts and I'm like, oh, do a footy chant. They take me 3 hours to do. But for the yield, you know what I mean? For how good they are, for the yield, it's time well spent. But what else was I saying there? Yeah, I'm not a nice person. Well, I'm okay. No, what happened was I was in here in the fine podcast studios, right? If you're a small, medium, or large-sized business, I cannot stress enough how phenomenal the facilities are here. They were used to record the voiceovers for the Bram Stoker Festival. It was all done here. My peer, the bloody bin. You want to call bloody panda.ie to get rid of the cunt. Michal Martin was here. Recording with my other peer, Stephanie Preisner. My other peer. Fellow author, and then Michal Martin would be the fellow person of note, shall we say. I tell you, I'm bloody Lula here. I'm bloody Lulu from Relight My Fire. You got to be strong enough to walk on to the night, yeah. You got that down on the other side. I'm bloody Lulu, because I haven't spoken to anyone other than a baby and my wife, who, you know, and we've just been talking about the baby. Not always. You wouldn't like me saying that. But I don't mind it. I have to be honest, I'm fucking loving it at the moment. I'm going to get back on to how I was not a nice person, but I'm going to talk about this for a second. I'm bloody loving it at the moment. I can't, I can't, there's a little dad chat here for the next bit. It's finally clicked. All these little nodes that were kind of hovering above my head, which was, I like the way he looks. I like how he looks like me. Those are the two main things that make me love my child, of course. I love his little laugh. I love being the person who puts him down. I love when not when he's upset, but I love the fact that I can comfort him. I love putting him in new little outfits. Again, the aesthetics. I love having a cute little version of me like Abu with a little waistcoat, and I'm Aladdin, right? That's a great costume. I wouldn't fucking think of that. Again, that's one of my life advice. Put it down in the thing. I'm Aladdin. My wife will be Jasmine. Costume. Sorry. See, this is the thing. When you think of a costume, you have to put it down in your notes. Otherwise, you'll forget. I'm Aladdin. The boy is Abu. And my wife is Jasmine. That'll be whopper for after he goes bloody, after he has a little monkey nap. Me, myself, and his mother hopefully having the ride that night. But anyway, what was I saying? I'm loving it. I'm loving him. He's great. And if I compare apples to apples, I don't know what I mean by that, but if I compare how I was beforehand, it's just finally clicked. It's finally clicked. I am not. There is no amount of FOMO that is getting over the love of my family unit right now. So that's good. That's good news. That's good news. And also, he's barely fucking sleeping. So I have to think it just gets better from here, even though it's going really well, because he could not be putting more stress on me for the sleep part. In terms of, well, he could definitely. He's actually been very good. He just wakes up a couple of times. But what I mean is that the fact that I'm loving it, and it's not necessarily clear sailing. He's not sleeping all the way through. I think proof is in the pudding now that it's finally clicked. And what I mean by kind of all the kind of clouds, basically, it's like all the things that I loved about being a father were kind of like floating around adjacent to each other, but now they've all kind of coalesced into one big cumulus cloud. A bit of assonance there as well. But anyway, people think I'm a nice person because of these things, but I'm not. I was in here, and another podcast, I won't say who, very nicely popped their head into the office and was like, "Hey, do you mind if I just use? I'm just going to pop in now just to use the recording booth. Are you going to be, And this is how I get. I get territorial and I get weird. This is just how I get. I don't know why it happens. But I just get territorial because I think I really like my kind of private time and I like my private space. I don't. I have to just accept the fact that is who I am and how I live, and I need to have various measures to make sure that I don't become really abrasive to people who encroach upon that space. That's the thing. I have to appreciate, not dramatically try and change, because I know who I am. I'm 33 now. I'm not necessarily going to be able to change these things about myself, but at least I can maybe do things to make sure that I acknowledge this behavior and it doesn't become too abrasive to the person who encroaches on that space. In this case, I wasn't able to put a dampener on that, and he just popped in and said, "Come on, if I use it." And I was like, "No, I'm actually using it all day today, man. I'm actually in there all day." Fucking lying. I didn't even have to do anything. I was going to record a podcast ahead of time, which actually turned into the podcast that I couldn't use, which was because of the technical snafu, where it actually fucking was. Well, it was recording, but it was anyway, that was just why I didn't have a podcast last week. I'm sorry about that, by the way, but you know where you can get fucking podcasts if you want podcasts. You know what I mean? Do you know where you can get, and you have to pay through the fucking teeth. Not through the teeth. Very accommodating, affordable sum if you want to get more podcasts. But anyway, I didn't actually have to record that day, but I fucking lied to your man and I said, "Actually, yeah, man, I'm in there all day, so yeah." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, when do you think you'll be done?" Not till like 3 or 4, And he's like, "Oh, right. It's just I booked a guest. But look, I'll tell them to come back at 3." And I was like, "Yeah, you better. We're going to do that." And then he left, and I immediately was like, "What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that shit? What is this mine mentality that I still have at 33, My wife got me a mug, like among other things, for my birthday, but it was kind of before my birthday, and I had to stop myself as an adult say, "Well, this doesn't count because it's not actually my birthday. This is just extra. This doesn't count as a birthday present because I actually had to stop myself saying that, and I didn't say it, luckily. But I'm a fucking spoiled brat. And I immediately, then he was leaving. I was like, "Oh, look, a couple of things." I called him. "Oh, here, come back. Sorry, actually, I moved a couple of things around, so you can use it. It's yours for the day." But now I also can't kind of acting like, "Oh, look here, I've moved a few things around, so go on, tussle your fucking hair. There you are, fucking good boy." Weirdo. I'm a weirdo. I'm not. Honestly, I'm not a nice. No, I am. I know. I don't know. I tell you, the dangers of acting like a nice guy is that you you have it. I think every teen should have a moment where they really hurt someone's feelings, and you realize that you are not in a movie. You are not fucking Dawson Leary. You are not just someone coaxing through life, and you're the nice guy, and everyone else is just a fucking bit players in the movie of you, right? There are other people that have feelings, and sometimes you do things that make you not a nice person. And the idea of that just being a nice guy doesn't exist. It's just how your day-to-day actions are. Because when you think you're a nice guy, and then you think, oh, they're fucking weird, that couldn't be something to do with me because I'm a nice guy. Do you know what I mean? Worst thing you can do, it's not the worst thing. You could obviously be a bad guy and totally welcome being a bad guy, walking around picking up your date like fucking Razor Ramon. Boom, 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 go up to the door, fucking jock her dad in front of her, take her away, boom, 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 hey, Chico, flick a toothpick at the mat. You know, that would be you adopting a bad guy mentality rather than, which would probably be worse than acting essentially like a big old soft boy. What was I talking about? I don't know, bloody America or something. Yeah, I'm talking about America. This is America. This is America. Don't catch me slipping up. Don't catch me slipping up. I want to talk about America because it's America Day. Can you believe it, man? It's the bloody American election special. And I'm going to be talking about all things American. I'm going to be talking about the election a little bit. Didn't really research much, but I have. Don't worry. Rumpel Foreskin is going to be here. Twitch political streamer is going to be here. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to rank, because everyone loves to go to ranking, if you know what I mean. I'm going to rank my 3 trips to America that I've taken. I'm not even going to tell you where they are. I'm just going to, you can bloody find out later. So here, let's go. I don't know what I mean. Hey, look, we're here. We're in a podcast. And this is as good an intro as I've done in years. Maybe I do a technical snafu every week. Anyway, now I'm tooting myself too hard. And listen, welcome to Tony Catwell Shit Show.
It's Tony Catwell Shit Show. And I know that the show is Tony Catwell Shit Show.
Oh my God, man. Hey, how you doing? Are you a Gail Gore as well, man? A Fanya Orr? Oh my God, man. My Fanya Orr gets fucking shit, so. Is that what it's called, Fanya Orr? I wouldn't know, because I never went to the Gael Talks. But I did plan to blow it up. Plan to strategically plant a few explosives on Arranmore Island so it would just drift off into the sea and all those hot Nordy boys would go with them. Not having a go with the guys. They were just trying to cop the feel. I don't know what I mean. They were trying to cop off. It's not even a term. With Dublin girls, which is fine. That's what I was trying to do. I can't begrudge these lads. And their stunning accents. Can I just say I love your accent? You Dublin girls. Oh my God. That's what they're probably like. You know, it's a lovely accent. I once got an actual flutter, little tummy flutter, but you know, a little bit lower, but not the penis. Kind of in between that, you know, which I think is like the hornier flutter. You know, you get butterflies like, oh, you get butterflies up in the top part of your diaphragm. That's when you have to like go out on stage, you have to talk to someone or you have to give like a presentation. Like, oh, I'm going to shit. And then you got kind of like medium butterflies in the kind of center of the sternum. That's like, oh my God. Oh, same said my name there. I didn't expect to hear my name. Or, you know, and then a little bit lower than that, you kind of get like a flutter, which is all like, you know, a text back being like, you know, like Pam and Jim popping his head back in being like, are you free tonight? You know, that kind of thing. Or, you know, you getting a text being like, you know, hey, are you free or something? You know, a little flirty text, right? That, but then you get a little flutter just below there where you're like, this is a little bit. It's soft, it's quaint, it's not sexy, but it's just virgin that place. You'd be surprised with the amount of nerve endings in your stomach. I don't remember who this was, but it was your man. He was on Russell Brand's podcast. I can't even. This is too much of a fucking. I barely even remember it. I think it was something to do with. It was so it's your man who did that Naked and Afraid show where he would go out naked into the woods or go onto an island and try and like build everything, you know, like just survive in the nip, do a proper castaway job, right? And he said that there was it Native Americans, was it Aboriginals, or was it just some New Guinea tribes people? Anyway, Someone fucking cool and smarter than us horrible Europeans butchering this world. We'll get more onto that when we're talking about fucking America later on. I can't even act like I'm doing a scathing commentary because I'm not. But anyway, they say that whoever this tribe is, I don't know who it is, say that there's 3 brains. You have your top head brain, you have your gut brain, and you have your heart brain. And they value each of them the same. Whatever. How did I fucking... I'm bored myself there. Got onto this. Oh, yeah. I got a little tummy flutter when it was... I was on the phone and it was in Northern Irish... I'll say an Ulstery area, right? I don't necessarily know if it was Northern Irish. But it was like... I think it was when I was trying to fucking when I was trying to do one of my famous call up your phone or internet provider and just fucking rinse them. Those things that I do every 18 months, which other people just upgrade their service because they realize they're playing an outdated thing. I view it like I'm fucking Genghis Khan fucking going in there to fucking ravage the place. You know what I mean? Or Koto. What's your man? Kotal Khan? The guy from Ghost of Tsushima. Do you hear fucking Lottie from Great British Bake Off, also a gamer playing Ghost of Tsushima? Tell you. She's great. She's a lovely, lovely, lovely person. Listen, what was I saying? Yeah, I got a tummy flutter from a girl from Northern Ireland when I was trying to cancel something, and I was like, yeah, look, I'm going to fucking cancel me Everton because this one thing didn't work. You know how I get. I'd be fucking little child. And then she's like, all right, just 1 wee second there. All right, just hold on 1 wee second there. 1 wee second there. And she had this real breathy Northern Irish voice, and I had a little... I hope my bloody wife doesn't hear this. You know, she's got a lovely, lovely voice. She sounds like an announcer on RTE News. That's how my wife talks. You know? What have I told you about the bog roll? That's how my wife talks, exactly like that. What else would she say? You know? Shoot. Will I make some banana ice cream for Bake Off? It's not that bad. We make banana ice cream out of frozen bananas for Bake Off. It's not that bad. And then she put some granola on top, and it's lovely, right? Anyway, what am I getting at here? Anyway, lovely, lovely voice. So I understand why young women, when you pause, if you pause between saying young women, you're a nonce. You're just you sound like a nonce, even if you're just trying to catch your thoughts here. Young women from Dublin going to the Gaeltacht, of course, they're going to cop off with a lovely voice. Anyway, I'm clearly taking a fucking piss here. Just with the loudness of my voice, because I have the whole floor to myself. But anyway, bloody America, man. Oh my God. I love America. I raise my family in the American way. That's kind of your man from Godfather meets Bela Lugosi, Count Dracula. But I do love America. I don't love... Well, I suppose I do. I just, it's like everything. It would be... me saying that I don't love America is the same as, like, racist lads. People saying that they fucking hate... They hate England, but they love, Manchester. They love Liverpool, being fucking racist. Not that exactly, because you can never be racist if you hate English people. But if you if you are racist and you literally do not like black people, right? Hopefully, no one listening to this podcast, but yet you will probably like the footballers on the team and kind of have an exception for that specific person. It's the same thing. You can't possibly absorb so much American content and be like, I hate America. I don't like America. For what it's done for culture. You can obviously have your issues with it. Anyway, hey, you Irish? If you get chatting to an American in a youth hostel, you guys are Irish, man? I just heard your accent. What is that, man? Irish? Oh my God. So I suppose you guys like Guinness, huh? And you get chatting to them. You get chatting to an American in a youth hostel. We do. I tell you, we do. But I tell you, I'd say what us Irish love even more is having a shite Guinness so we can complain about it. Trying to crack a joke, and they're like, Why is that? Oh no, do you ever crack a joke to an American and they don't know it's a joke? Like, oh no, why is that? No, we're just no, we do. It's just we love. Oh, that's awesome, man. And they kind of act like you're a little Abu, don't they? Oh, I gotta keep. Hey, we should keep this guy around, man. Look at this little guy. Look at this cute little guy. And the guy chatting to you is like 4 foot with a vest on. The best is when you get chatting to a guy, usually a guy, it's always a guy, who is like from Ireland but hasn't been back in like 30 years. And they have this kind of weird kind of like, how are you getting on? Yeah, I'm from Ireland myself, man. Yeah, man, from Skibbereen, Ah, man, haven't been back in fucking so long, man. Fucking hell. Man, I wouldn't even say I'm Irish anymore. I suppose a bit of a world traveler, Spent a bit of time in Norway, a bit of time in Toronto, a bit of time in Brisbane, Man, I woke up in my 40s, man, and I just had to look at me kids, and I thought, man, I just can't live like this, so fucked off. I haven't spoken to the boy in about 20 years. He's my life. He's my heart and soul, Oh, wow, have you been in touch with your son? No, man, that would just fucking get me down, bro. That would get me down, man. Chatting to my kid after abandoning the guy. No way, man. This is my girlfriend, man. She's like 35, The sort of girl with like moosey curly hair that, if karaoke comes on, she'd be like, black velvet in that little boy smile. She's wild. Leather pants, I met Anastasia here, man. Haven't been back Skibbereen in a long time. I gotta do something with it. See, this is the thing, wasting these characters on you. Sorry, don't mean to have a go. But I'll tell you what. If this podcast was sponsored, and it is for sale, let me explain something to you here. Podcasts are bafflingly cheap to advertise on. So get in touch with me. You will honestly be surprised. You will honestly be surprised at how cheap it is. And how Sales 101 here. How affordable you'll find for the value that you get from a podcast. How affordable it is for you. But honestly, it's shocking how fucking cheap these things are going for. So, like America, this is for sale. Everything is for sale here on the podcast. Honestly, if you want Tony's Name Drop Corner to be sponsored by Smirnoff, we'll have it, Is it Louis Walsh? Lovely, lovely Smirnoff, yeah. Whatever you want. Other vodka brands are available. Every single part of this podcast is for sale. And I know then when I get paid for this podcast, obviously the Patreon one, I cannot thank you for the very kind, if you're one of those people who are very generously supporting me over there. But anyway, either way, I'm just saying, I come up with bits on this, and I should be putting them out on the video, so I can get recognized on TikTok again. Tell you, someone came up to me and was like, oh my God, hey, you're that guy from TikTok. And I'm like, yeah, yes, I fucking am. I am the guy from TikTok. I own all the fucking things. So anyway, I don't know why am I shouting. Why am I shouting? I'm going to sit down here. Hang on. I was standing up there. That's why you had a nice bit of high energy in there. Now I'm tired. Welcome to the, as always happens in this pod, where I run out of steam, and the first 17 minutes are, wow, this guy, where is he coming? It's a stream of consciousness genius. Where's he coming? And then it's all like, I think if of all the cutlery I have in my drawer, like fucking boring. But this is not going to be boring because I have stuff I'm going to talk about, because it's fucking election. It's the American election, and I cannot tell you. Look, I do think that sometimes we get very, very preoccupied with the cultural issues of America, and I think we should allow the culture that we want to wash over us, enjoy the music that we like, definitely stand with people who need to be stood with, but a lot of times we get very beaten down by a country that's fucking 7 hours over that way on Swedish Air. You know what I mean? And I'm not having a go. I'm not saying you turn yourself off, but you should turn yourself, like. Anyway, I'm talking about America, bloody America. Let me tell you this, all right? One of the funniest things, one of the hardest I've ever laughed, right, was when my older brother was meant to be studying for his leaving cert, and his leaving cert was the next day. And my ma flipped at me, and then, as good Irish mothers do, just turned her attention just directly to the next person there, because she always had fucking shit to say about him, right? So I wound her up about something, and then she turned to him, and he wasn't studying, and she goes like, "And you, with your fucking leaving tomorrow." And he goes, leaving. Where are we going, mammy? Are we going to America? And she flipped, and I was fucking howling. Leave. Where are we going, mammy? Are we going to America? It is one of the funniest things ever. But I'm talking about America because I'm talking about the elections. And look, you know me. I am not well versed in the elections. I'm not well versed in politics, even though Politico the Clown, with my famous Charles bit, is one of my favorites. Well, one of the people's favorites. They love it more Politico, they say, at the gigs. That's not true. Anyway, listen, come here to me. What am I saying? Sorry, I'm just looking at Twitter here. As Leo, I thought it said Leo the Lick. The Lick. And you little lick. I performed for Leo. I've said this to you before. I've performed. He's not the president, but I've engaged. Anyway, we're not getting onto that. I'll get onto that in a second. I'll tell you about that in a second. I've already told you about that. But anyway, I'm talking about America. But let me tell you this. I'm talking about the election, and this is already on date itself, right? It's like bloody me having a wank in Eddie Rockets, dating myself. It's not great. I'm saying that I get to second base with myself on a date with myself in Eddie Rockets. You know what I mean? Whatever. See, this is also one of the faults here of having a podcast. There should just be someone here being like, shut up. Anyway, come here. The election, right? I just want everyone to fucking shut up about Donald Trump. Do you know what I mean? Just don't report news about Donald Trump. Like, I watched The Social Dilemma. I was talking about it there, see, I don't even fucking... I genuinely feel deflated if I hear Donald Trump just even come up in conversation. It's just so boring. So, I know this is going to date itself in the fact that Donald Trump is likely going to be the winner. And I'll have a podcast here that you listen to on Wednesday. This is going out on Tuesday when the election is taking place. The final votes to be put in for the election. And no doubt Donald Trump's going to win. Because this is what happens, right? People have a front-facing person, a public-facing person that they are, and then a very private person that they really are. Or the other way around. Maybe the private person is the one that... Shvek, you loopney lacty guys, it's Rumble Foreskin, how you guys doing? Welcome to my Twitch channel, election special, man. Oh my god, are we still talking about this Donald Trump guy? Oh my god. Donald Trump, you fucking baby, man. Ever since you heard me on Twitch, man, I know you've been avoiding my tweets and DMs. Well, let me tell you, man, the roast is not yet done, even though you look fucking cooked with your face is so brown. You look like you cooked turkey. The roast is not finished. I'm still going. Let me tell you something, guys. This Donald Trump wagon, he's so bloody broke that a bunch of toys from under a bed tried to fix him with sellotape before. One of them was a spider baby, man. Fucking weird, man. He's got weird stuff in his house, man. I tell you, this bloody Donald Trump, man, you know how I feel about him, man. This guy's a bloody chicken crossing the road because he's a joke. You know what I mean? This guy, honestly, man, Donald Trump, this guy, he has such a sepia face that I once thought I was staring at a picture of Joe Biden at his Debs. It looked like a cowboy picture. Speaking of fucking Biden, they should call him Joe fucking Riding, man, because he's riding a horse. Because the motherfucker is so old, he doesn't even have a car. A car was the last word I said there. And I tell you, man, this just shows, man, this is a bipartisan bloody roast because, this guy, Joe Biden, this guy is so old and he wants to be president. Who's the Secretary of Homeland Security, a bloody pterodactyl? Yeah! Joe! He might say things like this. Yeah, and who's the bloody Secretary of the Treasury? Smaug? He's old as well. Not as old as Elrond, I think. Elrond is one of the oldest in the franchise. Let me tell you another. Joe Biden, man, you're so bloody old and doddery that I went to his house there the other week, and the cunt kept offering me biscuits, man. Motherfucker wouldn't take no for an answer. He kept saying there was biscuits in the press. He's so old, man. And the fucker still puts sugar in my tea, even though I haven't had that since I was a baby. You know, a young boy. Man. Yeah, I heard the Joe Biden team launched a new social media platform for the guy. It's called Instagrandad. And let me tell you as well, man, this guy Joe Biden, his hair is so white that if he becomes president, he'll probably try and go in his hair to bed, thinking it's the White House. This motherfucker put a foot on his head to try and go into the White House. Oh, man. But Joe Biden, man, oh my God, at least, you know, at least he's not as bad as Donald Trump. That's what they say, you know, this guy. And let me tell you, you might have heard this one before on the Twitch channel, but Donald Trump, they should call you fucking Donald Duck, man. Your bollocks are hanging out, bro. Your bollocks are hanging out all over your leg. You know? Is that your knees? Or is it two adjacent bollocks hanging down? Yeah, anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Shveki, alumni electi, I've been Rumple Foreskin. At the end of the day, guys, whoever wins, whether it's Tommy Pickles or fucking Grandpa Pickles, who knows, in the bloody Playhouse, it doesn't matter. They're still going to make Avengers movies. They're still going to make The Mandalorian, and Friends will be available on some streaming service. Why don't you focus on your local area? See what you can do if you want to enact change in a cultural way. Anyway, whatever, I'm gone. Oh my God, Rumple Foreskin, I tell you, that's a guy who really tells it like it is. You know what I mean? Really tells it like it is. And he strikes me as someone who, if he had something to say, he'd say it to your face. The attributes of a good person. That's what a good person does. Now, they're not a cunt, because if they would be a cunt if they said it behind your back, right? The fact that they call you a knob end to your face. I don't know why I went all the way from cunt to knob end there, but you know what I mean. No, he tells it like it is. If he has something to say, say it to your face. He hates drama, and he hates drama. You know what I mean? Though that's the qualities of a good friend I look for there. You know, / Big Brother contestant. You know, I hate drama. But do you know what? Regardless, again, this podcast is going to date itself in that, you know, having a big old fap in Eddie Rockets, you know, you're going to be listening to this on a Tuesday or Wednesday. It's probably going to be clear who has won the American election. But keep in mind, it is still a country's election. Would you really know if there was a Chinese election even happening? Would you know there was a Chinese election happening? And would you know the two candidates and what they stood for? Would you know in the Indian election if one person is pro-fossil fuels and one person is pro-sustainable energy? Would you know that? Because those two would probably have the bigger cultural or the bigger impact in terms of the climate, likely, would be those two countries. So, you know what I mean? Like, don't let it get under your skin. Hey, Jude, whoever wins, it was 4 years ago. It was a blip, right, when Donald Trump won. Don't let it get under your skin. And realize that it's only how much you let it in. Because it's really... Look, definitely, I don't want to be saying it doesn't matter, right? Definitely, if you have a view on it and you want to say something about it, great, go for it. Talk about it. But, you know, it's just... I don't know what I'm talking about. I feel like I don't want to be fucking telling you to do anything. Do you know what I mean? But I would just, look, I'm not fucking telling you what to do. I'm not telling you what to say. All I'm saying is that I have definitely found more comfort and happiness in curating the amount of bad news that I get from America, you know? And I do think that there's a weighted, that the level of importance of American news is unfortunately too weighted against other local things. Do you know what I mean? Of course, we don't have nearly as much kind of bad things and fatal shootings and, you know, marginalized people be fucking shot to death. Do you know what I mean? We don't have that. I'm getting fucking too deep here. Do you know what I mean? But I do also think that there's other groups and stuff that maybe don't get the, you know, don't get the representation that they deserve here in Ireland. I'm not saying that one's better than the other, but I'm saying that maybe sometimes it'd be good to see that level of marching and black squares for some of the marginalized people of Ireland. And I'm not saying you turn a blind eye to Black Lives Matter. Anyway, I'm going to fucking... I feel like, you know in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, R.I.P. Sean Connery. R.I.P. Sean Connery. You know, when he's trying to hop on the tiles that spell out Jehovah. That's how I feel sometimes when I talk about anything that isn't Ploon and shit. Anyway, I'm going to tell you about. I'm fucking in it. I keep saying like I'm going to start talking about America. I Oh yeah, this is the thing I was going to say. Look, at the end of the day, whoever wins, it's just a president. Do you know what I mean? As someone who has actually met presidents, can I say they are just people, guys? They are just usually men, but they are humans, and usually they're not even the ones making the rules. List of the presidents I've met. I've met Mary McAleese. That was just before my friend gave her the stink palm at our school in our school Reach. I have met Michael D. Higgins. Well, I didn't. He was passing by in a car outside Lansdowne Road, and I shouted, Michael D. Higgins! And he waved his little hand. And Leo Varadkar as well, as good as, came to go see me, and specifically me, in our group Dream Guns version of GoldenEye. We were doing GoldenEye. Dream Gun film reads different films every night, and one was GoldenEye, and I was playing Bond. And he went to go see me. And he looked very bored. And then I've also met Bill Clinton. I've met Bill, alleged sexual assaulter, Bill Clinton. Just Google Bill Clinton sexual assault. You will be surprised at the amount of claims of sexual assault Bill Clinton has been involved in. But I met him. We're just fucking weirdos growing up, me and my mates, and we slept out overnight to get a book signed by Bill Clinton. That's how impactful America was. For us in the 90s, because he was our president, but this was probably, 2003, and we slept out overnight. We didn't even sleep out. We stayed up all night outside Easton's to get Bill Clinton's autograph for his book. And everyone bought it. My mate Joe bought it. My mate Dan bought it. Bought the CD, the audio book of it. I'm fucking weirdos, like. And I went to meet him, and it was Secret Service everywhere. And on my way in, right, this woman gave me, she was like, can you give this letter to Bill? And I was like, I don't know if he's going to, please, she said, please give this letter to Bill. You know, if you're going in there, just, I'd love him just to know how much he's meant to me. And I was like, all right, you know. And then I was going in there, and like, the Secret Service were everywhere, you know. And this was during an anthrax scare that happened like a couple of weeks before. And I was like, I'm not fucking giving. And also, who the fuck are you? Queue up your fucking self and give it to Bill passing by. Will you give us a letter to Bill? I've been out here all night. Give your own fucking letter to Bill. Anyway, I didn't give it to Bill, and I read it afterwards, and it was just thanking him for everything with the troubles, and I just ripped it up and fucked it in the liffey. Shouldn't have been littering. That was the worst thing that I did that day. But anyway, when I did meet Bill, Mr. President, I had sexual assaulter Bill Clinton, alleged sexual assaultist Bill Clinton. He signed the CD version, and I gave him the CD to sign, and I was starstruck. I was like, I couldn't talk, I couldn't move. It was fucking Bill Clinton from the telly, and he was like, "Hey, little buddy, can I sign it here?" And he was just like pointing at a part on the CD to sign it, and I was like, "Hey, buddy, hey, can I sign it here?" And I was like, anywhere is good. Anywhere is good. And he signed it, and we left, and we were delighted. We were so happy that we didn't even go home. We went to Cork, and we went on a wild trip to Cork, me and the lads, you know. We were just buzzing. And then I found out about all the assault. Anyway, very quickly, I'll tell you about some of the trips I've been to America, right? I've only got 5 minutes left. I need to leave because someone else is actually going to be in here. And honestly, I cannot edit this. This is fucking raw. So I cannot edit this. I need to be out in 5 minutes. I've been to America a couple of times. I've been 3 times. Once in the year 2000, I went to Orlando, Disneyland. That was my first impression of what America was. And I tell you what, for walking up and down fucking strip malls in Orlando, I still milked as much America as I could out of the swamp. No offense, that was Orlando. My brother bought the Marshall Mathers LP. It was before it was out. We're like, oh my God, man. Hearing, like, listening on his Discman, smiling away to his skit about him murdering his wife or his girlfriend, gas. And then I bought the Mission Impossible 2 soundtrack. And I had a little known track called Take a Look Around, Limp Bizkit's best track at the time. And I remember that was the only way of getting Limp Bizkit, getting new Limp Bizkit was getting. That's what you do. You would spend £17 to get the soundtrack to an album to a film that you hadn't seen just so you could hear the one track from a new band. That's, I'm not saying that, definitely music should be getting a lot more money, musicians should be getting a lot more money, but that's also just insane money, and the musicians should be getting it anyway. So Orlando, that was fun. My ma, I remember, was just like, look, we're going to Disneyland. And I was like, what? Like, my ma she hadn't really, we hadn't done any kind of big trips with my mom, after my parents were divorced a good couple of years, but she was like, right, no, I'm going to show these fucking kids a good time. We're going to go fucking holiday to Disneyland. I'm going to fucking blow their minds here, go to Disneyland. And it was a fucking whopper trip. And it was made even more fun by the fact that the three of us are just as fucking gormless as each other, being like, where do we go? What bus do we get? I don't know actually how we stayed alive, the three of us. We were just like, we were on the bus, and we had all our tickets and everything bought for Universal Studios, and it was all like, next stop, SeaWorld. And we're like, oh, fuck. And we had to spend loads of money to go to SeaWorld, and we didn't have tickets for SeaWorld. But it was fun. It was really fun. And that was when my first taste of America. I came back. I bought some jeans in a thrift store that had big, long, baggy flares on them. I bought a chain from the Terminator 2 ride in Universal Studios. So I had a big, baggy chain with a wallet. I got to where I got my patch that said Boner on it that I ironed on. My small patch on my chest that said Boner that I wore as my merch. And I was like, everyone's going to call me Boner. Then in 2001, I went to New York City, New York. Back in 2001, mind you, this was April 2001, where I was very much like my peer Seth MacFarlane in that I also narrowly escaped the terrorist attack by 6 months. He was meant to be on the flight. I was 6 months away, but still, had we decided to go in September the 11th instead of April, this could be a very different podcast. Can you make? Still feels weird. That was fucking 20 years ago, man. This time, a bit more refined taste. I bought Alien Ant Farm's album. I wasn't mad on Smooth Criminal. But I do think Movies is probably one of the best. It's not pop punk, but for it to make the mainstream, it's definitely one of the fucking best punk rock bangers of all time. It's probably my top 5 punk rock bangers of all time. I fucking love Movies. So I play that on repeat on the Discman. My brother bought, I think, Warren G's I Want It All album. I want it all. Money, fast cars, diamond rings, gold chains, and champagne shit. Every damn thing. Because he was man to the gangster rap then. I think he also got like a Dog Pound album. Or Daz Dillinger or something like that album. And it was shite. It was absolutely shite. And it was a great trip. Great trip to New York. Everything is so fucking expensive. Even then, you see like prices in Friends, and they're like, like their rent there is like $1,600. You know what I mean? It seems like whenever you watch like 90s or noughties America, it's the same price in euros now. It's shocking expensive. And I'll tell you how you want to talk about expensive, right? This is my third time, went to Las Vegas. Don't I sound so fucking Irish saying it like that in 2016. It was a sales incentive. My sales team won. They brought in the best numbers. Yeah, you can have a fucking shot and brought up sales. My sales team won, and we went, and because I was the manager, so me and then someone else who was on my team, who actually fucking couldn't go, right? Because she's from the Philippines, right? From the Philippines, has been living in the UK for like 8 years. She was fucking denied a visa to get into America. This is fucking America. So she couldn't fucking go. So I was going. It was the sales manager and the best salesperson. She was the best salesperson, and then she couldn't go, right? Because they thought, even though she was married, and the excuse she had was like, how do we know you're going to come back? I didn't have to deal with that. I didn't have to deal with that at all, being an Irish person. She's from the Philippines. They're like, no, what if you fucking stay here? And they were like, but I have a husband here. They're like, well, we don't want to hear it. And they actually said that if she asked again, she'd be put on a list so that she could never ask for a visa again. You forget the level of fucking privilege that we have of being who we are. But anyway, that was very frustrating. But I got to go as well. And let me tell you this. The way they sold it to us was like a week in Vegas, all expenses paid. You won't have to put your hand in your pocket. Then that became 48 hours, 2 days in Vegas. And they wouldn't be giving us any money. They weren't going to give us any money. So we were there. And I tell you, when you go to Vegas on a budget, and like when you haven't, literally the day before you go, you find out that you have to spend that all your money's gone. Like, This was towards the end of the month. We had fuck all money, so like we were really watching the fucking pennies in Vegas. And this is what we did, right? They said, right at the end of they said we're going to give you $500, right, spread between the four of you. So you'll have $500, and you'll just have to pay for the rest. We're like, right, fine. And then one of us had the idea, was like, look, how about, right, we go in there to the casino, we put $500 on black, right? We put $500 on black, and then we'll double it, and then that'll be $250 each. We're like, great, 50-50 chance, more or less, flip of a coin. You forget about the 0-0 green on a roulette table, right? So we put it on black, red. So now we were really fucking out of pocket, right? So we really mind the pennies. So we lost all our cash, and we went out that night out of our own pocket. Like, hey, can I get a Budweiser? It's $15. Absolutely unreal. Drinking out of a plastic bottle, because that's what they do. Or everyone's like out of a tin bottle, but it's still not the same. It's always the worst swig. The worst swig. A fucking Budweiser. The king of beers. The king of beers. Are you fucking insane? That's insane. The king, the best beer. Would anyone? Anyway, I'm available for SpawnCon for Budweiser. Anyway, so we went at that night. Anyway, we didn't stay at that long. The next morning we got up, right, and we went to get breakfast down by the pool, right. Again, because we're watching the pennies, look at the menu, right. The cheapest thing is a chicken Caesar salad for $37, right. So I got a chicken Caesar salad. And I went up to order. No one came around to take the order, right? And then I sat down. And like, I'm assuming there are people walking around here that they're going to bring my food over, right? So we're waiting like 20 minutes. There's no food. Then I looked over where I'd made the order. There was a chicken Caesar salad right there. Right? So I went over. And then I was like, oh, I think that's for me. I was like, oh, great. Okay, here you go. Sign this, right? So I had to sign the thing. I had to write down what it was again, just to be reminded this was €37, right? And then it had tip underneath that, right? And I just thought, well, it's right here. So this is obviously self-service. There's no fucking tip here, right? So then I was for $37, left the cash there. And then the woman at the table was like, sir, if you're actually not going to tip anything, could you please just draw a line through that if you're honestly not going to give me a tip? A tip for fucking what? For not letting me know that there's a chicken Caesar salad sitting here. That the €37 chicken salad has been sitting here in the fucking sun for the last fucking 20 minutes. Just it's the fact that you didn't tell me that. So that already started off on a fucking bad day. But anyway, went to this pool party, right? One of these pool parties. And let me tell you this, right? I was in Vegas for 48 hours and I saw David Guetta fucking twice live. There you are, you fucking. And actually, do you know what wasn't bad? Titanium, when you're in a pool with a bunch of people dancing around, is actually pretty good crack. I realize there's something about water, right? It's like same with Sawyer. He just looks good wet. Something about David Guetta and water, right? Pool party David Guetta, actually all right. Me and my wife also got a boat, a speedboat out to like one of the islands in Malta, the Blue Lagoon, and we got like a speedboat that was Blair and David Guetta. It fucking works. Speedboat, the sun, the water, the pool, it for whatever reason, David Guetta works when you're wetter. So it was so David Guetta, that was class. Absolutely langered off $30 bottles. They get even more in the pool party. $30 bottles of tin Budweiser. And then the fucking Irish had on us thinking, right? Oh, we can just walk. Well, they're English as well. We were like, we can just walk. The stratosphere is right at the top of the Vegas Strip, so we can see it. So let's just walk there. You forget that these are not walkable streets. America is not necessarily walkable. Orlando wasn't walkable, and this is walkable. You just walk in the fucking baking sun. We walked into this taco restaurant, got some 2 lovely tacos, queued up for fucking ages, misread the menu in Spanish, thought that, that's a portion of tacos, but that's one taco. That's how they do it. You buy per taco. Still the best taco ever had. But then that night, went back, had a couple of drinks. Who am I fucking talking to? Why am I talking to you like this? No, I'm getting at this point, right? So that night, I actually had the best night ever, right? Everyone was a bit tired. I think some of us had a bit of sunstroke from walking back with the tacos, right? But I was fucking shit-faced, and I was like, no, look, this is when I didn't respect my body and when I was tired, right? Terry wasn't there, of course, so she couldn't tell me that I needed to go to bed. So I was like, no, fuck this, right? I'm fucking staying out. I don't care. So So I noticed that when you sit at the casino tables, you can get free beers, right? And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to bet 50 quid, right? I'm going to start with 50 quid, and I'm not going to spend that more than that. And that 50 quid will probably be my drinks for the night, right? I'll go back up once I lose the 50 quid, right? So I sat next to this Native American guy, and he was just, I likely started burning the ear off him. But like, we're one and the same, man, you know, all that shit, you know. We're like the same, you know. I tell you, let me tell you about the Choctaw people. You know what they did for us, you know, all this shit, you know what I mean? You know what they gave food in the famine. So, and he gave, and for me burning the ear off him being quite nice, and I was playing up the played up the paddy shit, you know. He said, look, if you get to 12, don't hit. Just don't hit on 12. There's too many people at this table that the dealer's going to try and beat us. Blackjack table. The dealer's going to try and beat everyone, right? There's going to have to keep going. So just don't hit at 12. Just stay, you know. Sometimes you'll win. The likelihood is the dealer will go bust more times than that. So I did that. And before I knew it, I had fucking $500. And I had $500, and then I realized I was fucking shit-faced, right? Because I'd only had 2 tacos. So I decided, you know what? I am in a western part of America, right? There is only In-N-Out burgers are only available in California and here in Nevada. And so I got a Lyft, right? One of those Ubers, but with loads of lights, like a big minivan. And with my winnings, I went out to the nearest In-N-Out burger that was about an hour's drive away in a Lyft. This is the level of secret eating that I do, right, when no one's around. And I went, got In-N-Out burger, got fucking animal fries or animal style, whatever it was. And I tell you, I wasn't mad on it. I wasn't mad. It definitely wasn't worth the wait. It wasn't worth the wait getting out there, but it was just as it closed. I'll give In-N-Out burger another chance. Then anyway, next night we went out, saw David Guetta again. Saw David Guetta a fucking again. And wasn't as good the second time. My ranking of my holidays are as follows. And I guess, you know, I'm not going to rank them because one was with my mum after the divorce, one was with my dad after the divorce. So I'm not, I don't want to be like, oh, one was better than the other. But look, America's fun, a little bit too expensive. That's all I have to say about that. I don't even know what the fuck this podcast was. But listen, don't get so preoccupied about the election. Don't be worried about it, right? It's not going to affect you. Well, it might. And you can still definitely be vocal and everything that goes along with that. Thank you very much for listening. And let me tell you this. We're doing some t-shirts. We're doing some Tony Cantwell Shit Show merch. Hopefully by the time you're listening to this, I will have all my ducks in a row. They will be going live for the patrons this Thursday. And then on Friday, they'll be out to general sale. There is only 250. They're full of various slogans. I'll be putting them online, hopefully tomorrow, and you can see them. But again, patrons will get first dibs over on the Patreon. And I tell you, it might even sell out over there. There's enough patrons over there. There's over 810 or 15 or something like that patrons over there. But if you, in general, forget about the t-shirts. If you want more podcasts, you can get them over there. It's the price of a pint a month. And as well, if you don't want to pay for that, that's fine. You can listen to my Bake Off podcast coming on Thursday. Thank you very much for listening. All the best.
It's Tony Cantwell Shit Show.